people, if you are looking for a quality, vintage, modern, classic football shirt, get yourself over to okjersey.com. Selling shirts for around £15 and shipping to Europe with orders over £50. Make sure you treat yourself. Use the discount code BBN for 8% discount. Get yourself a new modern vintage Everton shirt. Treat yourself to something weird and wonderful. Treat yourself to a kid's kit, whatever you want. Make sure you get yourself over to OK Jersey. Sizing is literally on the website, just there. The price ranges are there. The sizing is there. You can pick your patches, your standards, your player numbers, the works. Treat yourself. Get yourself over to okjersey.com.
Yes, everyone, it's John, it's Michael back again. And this is just, again, another news video that we've put together at the last minute, really. We're just going to let the conversation flow if we can. Because, listen, there isn't a great deal to talk about yet. The Premier League isn't kicked back in. We're still getting over the international break. But before we do go into it, don't forget we are proudly sponsored by our sponsors, Flyers and Aviate Watch, and also OK Jersey, which if you go to their website and use BBN8, that is your discount code. Yes, so how are you, son?
I'm all right, Dad. How are you?
I'm old enough to be your dad, aren't
I know, yeah, I know. You're just not as good looking enough. That's the problem, because this is.
Yeah, but when you reach 51 nearly, mate, you won't look. You'll look worse than me.
I'll be dead.
Yeah, so listen, we were just going to talk about. Oh yeah, don't forget, we still have our tickets for the Neville Southall event on the 6th of February on sale. The description and the link is in the description. Sorry, or just go to Eventbrite and type in Neville Southall, and you will find the tickets there. They are going. More people are buying them now for Christmas presents, etc., etc. So get yourself over there and don't miss out on our first night that we are hosting with the big man himself, Neville Southall. So I come up with an idea. I'm probably going to talk about the players who we brought in the summer, how we think they've done, marks out of 10. Obviously, it's pointless talking about the goalkeepers because we haven't seen them. There's a couple of young lads we're not going to crucify because we haven't seen enough of them. So we will start with the main man, and I'm going to ask Michael. You're not the main man. Jack Grealish is the main man. Thoughts on Jack Grealish, rating out of 10. Why you give him the rating you've given? Go. The floor is yours.
So before we start, just one thing. Somebody in the comments asked what I'd done for Christmas. So just to let you know, the decks are out. The decks are out. I mean, there's the tree. We've got the lights. So there you go. The decks are.
Yeah, the lights you have all year round.
Yeah, but the I don't have that hanging off it. Do you know what I mean?
So it's the tinsel on the lights.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's for the people that are wondering, where is Christmas in the Mike household? It's in town. Jack Grealish is a 7 for me. There's pros and cons to up or down. So I think if Jack had a striker that could work with the creation and the assist that he could be getting and getting into the right positions, I think Jack could easily be a 9. I never give anyone a 10, by the way. So that's, but he easily could be there. But he also could be a 5, John, because it's taken him a long time to start pulling the trigger, and we've seen it more in recent games. But I think for the first something like 9 or 10 games, I don't think I'd seen him have a shot. But he was doing all of the good things, like linking play, winning free kicks, but he wasn't really taking his man on. He was standing the ball and he was passing right. Now he's developed a little bit more. He's sort of going back to the old Jack Grealish, in my opinion. Running down the channel, running down the line, carrying the ball, trying to get into space. But I just don't feel like we've seen enough of it to go, yeah, you're outstanding right now. Clearly, Jack Grealish, from this and just his technical ability, is outstanding. It's obvious. But I really do feel like Man City almost damaged him. And until he loses that, I don't feel like I can give him any more than a 7. And I think that could be generous as well.
Well, you see, for me, Jack Grealish come to Everton as damaged goods, in my opinion. And that's no swipe at Jack. That's obviously how it went for him at Man City. And I wouldn't just say towards the last couple of months, Michael, you know, we haven't seen the Jack Grealish at Man City while he was there that we've seen at, say, Aston Villa, for example. Now, I give Jack a 6. And the reasoning for that is, listen, he had the highest assists in the Premier League when the season first started. As I said on last night's video, he's won a Player of the Month, you know, accolade since he's been at Everton as well. But for me, he's sort of tailed off from what we've seen in his early time at Everton. Now, I'm with you there. I think a lot of that is down to what he's got in front of him. Now, if Jack Grealish had a top striker in front of him who you were consistently going to get double figures off every season with better movement in front of him from the strikers, and strikers taking the defenders away so it gives him more opportunity to shoot, I would be giving Jack Grealish more of a 6. So it's not an indictment on Jack that we haven't got decent centre forwards. The reason why I give him 6 is because I do think he can shoot more than what he has been, because we know he's got a shot on him, Michael. You know, he needs to get in the box more for me, because he's one of them players who will win you a lot of penalties. I don't think he's won us a penalty this season, has he? No. So for me, if I was David Moyes, I'd be saying to him, listen, as you pointed out, he has been better with the ball. He is getting down the channels. He is looking to get in behind the opposition's defence more. But if I was David Moyes, I'd be saying to him, 1, shoot more, shoot on target. You know, as soon as you can see the goal and you see them, the white of the posts, you can get a shot off, get it off. You may get a handball off it, you may get a corner off it. But number 2, I'd also be saying to him, get in the box more. Get in the box more, because we know the centre forwards aren't much cop at the minute. You know what I mean? So I think he's got to sort of do more of his own game when we haven't got top centre forwards in front of him who, as you said, will feed off his creativity, get in the box more, win us more penalties. And that's why I think 6 is a bit generous, to be honest with you. I'll probably only give him that because of what he's done in his early days at Everton, you know. And as I say, top assists, a Player of the Month, but it could have easily been a 5. Can't hear you.
That's the problem for me. That is the problem. I think we should just wheel through some of the others, just because, you know, people could, you know, I mean, us talking, just fucking rambling, I worry we'll bore people. So, Mark Travers, let's talk about Mark Travers. And the reason why I want to say Mark Travers is because we're just going to fly through him and the other goalkeeper.
Well,
he gets a 5.
Yeah. Well, he's done nothing wrong. He's done nothing right, really. Is he the Irish keeper who played in goal for Ireland to get to the World Cup?
Oh, I don't know.
Sure, he's Irish. Go on. Ad-lib while I'm checking.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, Mark Travers, I've seen him in 2 games. One was against, you know, lower league opposition at Bramley-Moore, and the other was
of Ireland he plays for.
And the other was away at Wolves, and I thought he was poor away at Wolves in that Carabao Cup game. I certainly thought. I think the first goal, I think he was to blame. I think you could have argued both goals were his fault, or you know, partially his fault. So for me, I've certainly not been blown away by him. I don't necessarily think it's the competition that Pickford needed either. You know, because I don't feel like he's good enough to put that pressure on Pickford. So for me, I give him a 5. He is a number 2 goalkeeper. And the other lads, which is it Tom King? It is Tom King, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're never going to see him. We're never going to see him. He's a 3rd choice goalkeeper. He's played the majority of his career in the lower leagues. he's never going to play. So
I don't get bringing two keepers in, me. When if you're one of the youth keepers at Everton, what must you be thinking?
Mate, there's no reason Harry Tyreth or one of the other young lads could be involved in the first team setup at this point. No problem.
You say there's no one to come in. They're not really going to push Pickford. Not being funny, mate. Let's be honest about it. What keepers are? What number 2 goalkeepers out there are going to put Jordan Pickford under pressure?
Nah, the very best goalkeepers in the Premier League, because we've got the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, because Everton's the team that play beautiful football.
Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall?
Yeah. An 8.
Fucking hell.
I really like him. Like, I really, really like him. But I think he's been played out of position.
Yeah.
So I could easily give him a 7. I don't think I'd give him any lower than a 7, if I'm being honest. But that's just me personally.
Do you score him higher than Jack then?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. And do you know why? He does everything. Like, I saw Dewsbury-Hall. I think it was the Fulham game. It was away at Sunderland, and he follows his man all the way down to the 30 yards, and it's towards the throw-in, and he gets a tackling. The guy keeps the ball, and he spins around on the floor and wins the ball and carries it. And I just sat there and thought, that is a quality footballer. Like that is a quality footballer for somebody to have the presence, to have 2 bites of the cherry, get the ball off him, and then carry the ball away, whilst also having the ability to, manipulate play. He's got the energy. He'll press forward. I've been really, really impressed with that element. But do I think he either should play as an 8? Probably. Do I think he's going to score enough goals in his position he's playing? No. So I don't hold that against him, because I don't think it's fair to hold that against him, because in my opinion, he's an 8, not a 10. Do you get what I mean? It's the manager that should have points deducted on Dewsbury-Hall, because I think Dewsbury-Hall is a very, 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 very good 8, but he's not a 10.
I go 6, pushing 7, and the reasons for that are we haven't seen him in his proper position, as you say, and that's not his fault. He's a bit like Jack for me, in the fact that Jack started really well, got all the assists, got the Player of the Month award, and I thought it took a while for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall to settle in, to get into how Everton were playing. I'm not going to say Jack's gone backwards, but I think Jack sort of stood still with how he was doing, whereas I feel Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall starting to step up now. You mentioned the Sunderland game. The Fulham game for me was probably Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall's best game in an Everton shirt. So it's a 6, pushing a 7. I think if Moyes does play him in his proper position, and listen, I think eventually it's going to be a midfield of change, isn't it? We've got Merlin Rol waiting to come in. I don't think Charlie Alcaraz will start every week, in my opinion. Idrissa Gana guy can't go on forever. I do think we're probably going to change the formation eventually with these players who we've got, Merlin Rol, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. You're going to see a different lineup eventually, as I keep saying. I think then we will see the real Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, because I think eventually he will be put in his proper position. And if he was now, and he could take the Sunderland performance and the Fulham performance going forward, and is consistently as good as what he was at Fulham, I'd have no problems if we done this video in a month's time giving him an 8. Because I'm with you. There's definitely a player in there. We've seen it. He's got his quality. He's got quality, Michael. We just haven't seen it enough in his early days. But I think now, even though he's not in his proper position, the Sunderland and the Fulham games, I think his quality is starting to shine through now.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think I'm scoring these players just a touch higher because we're in such a transition. I just don't. If Everton were firing on all cylinders, right, and we were scoring goals and we were winning games consistently and we were doing all them things, you can almost judge them better because you can find the weak links. But at the minute, in certain games, they've all been weak links. They've all been poor. They've all had moments. The most consistent player for me this season is James Garner. And, you know, we've said it for the last two videos. That's my opinion. I mean, yours might be different, but it's James Garner or Michael Keane for me as the two most consistent. So when we're talking about our new signings, for me, it's a difficult conversation because I'm judging them off 11 games or 12 games, and I don't think they've been great in any of them. So I'm judging them based on Everton being a transition with a manager that is also in transition, in my opinion, that doesn't know his best 11, that doesn't know the best tactics for the team, that is playing with two strikers that haven't given him enough goals. So it's difficult for me to go, you're a 10 or you're a 1. The only obvious ones, and we'll move on to them, is the players that aren't playing, because you can argue they're not getting a chance. You can argue that they're not doing enough in training. You can argue lots of things. But for me personally, as of right now, you know, let's talk about Adamu. Let's just go on to Adamu. It's like a 3 because I haven't seen him. What I've seen in the under-21s, I think he needs to get used to Premier League. He certainly needs to get used to English football, never alone just Premier League, English football. Because you mentioned off air, and I'll let you make the point. But in the games where you have seen him, under-21s, the few minutes he's played in the Premier League, Carabao Cup, if he, I can't remember, I'm sure he played a little bit in one of the games. He hasn't looked ready. Well, but he's also 19 years old.
Well, he's 19 years of age. It's a new country. It's a new league. David Moyes has openly admitted Adamu's not ready. And I can back that up from what I've seen from him playing for the under-21s. He's nowhere near ready. And to be honest with you, mate, yes, he's 19 years of age, but he looked like a fish out of water in that under-21 game as well. So it's not an indictment on Adamu. We haven't seen enough of him to really go balls deep on him and say, shit, he's not good enough, because we haven't seen enough of him. But from what I have seen, what I will say, it's going to be quite a while before he'll be challenging Mykolenko for that left-back spot.
Yeah, and that's fair. What number would you give him?
Well, 3, because he plays for Everton and he wears that blue shirt, and it's not for the lack of trying. He has tried, and in the games I have seen him, I think he's made a fleeting appearance for the first team. So listen, he is an Everton player. He is in and around the first team training, but I'm with David Moyes on this one, that he is one for the future. He's not ready. He's got a lot to learn. And it's going to take a while, in my opinion, as I said, until he's challenging for that left-back spot.
The other one is Tyler Dibling. Now, it's really difficult for me, this, because this is a kid that I 100% believe is an incredibly talented footballer. I truly believe there is a top young player in Tyler Dibling. But there's lots of rumours flying around about different things, whether he's adjusting, whether he's coping, whether he's moaning. I don't know, right? And I'll never judge anyone for any of those things, because what I think is happening is his past is also being brought up. The first thing football fans do when you're signing a new player is you look where the planes are landed, you do your background checks on the players and whatever, and you form an opinion, and you're like, yes, I can't wait to sign that player because he's brilliant, his injury record's great, or whatever. But what people are now doing with Tyler is they're looking at a short period where he signed from, I think it was Southampton to Chelsea, and then went back. And the rumours around that and the media at the time all very much said he's homesick. And now football fans, Everton fans, you see it on Twitter, you see it everywhere, are saying, oh, well, he's struggling because he's homesick. And the problem is, nobody knows. Nobody actually knows. My worry with Tyler, right, is that he's swallowing himself. He's putting too much pressure on himself. Part of that is the price tag, huge price tag, 40 odd million pound, huge price tag. And the appearances we've seen, let's be fair, let's just say it as it is, they haven't been great. You know, he was pulled off after 45 minutes in one of the games. I saw him away at Wolves in the Carabao Cup. It wasn't great. But I also don't want to write him off. So I give him a 5. I give him a 5. And it's because I firmly believe there's a player in there. And I'm really hoping Everton are the club to get it out of him. But I genuinely think within 18 months, we're going to know if this has worked or not.
I think you'll know quicker than 18 months. I think you'll know by pre-season how much he's involved in pre-season games. Listen, I don't think we're going to see much of Tyler Dibling from now to the end of the season. I don't know what it is. Again, we could sit here and we could say, you know, I think I've said it on here. David Moyes must be absolutely battering the kid's confidence. But then on the flip side, we don't know if he's doing it in training. We don't know if he's sulking. We don't know if he's in a shell. And if that's the case, then Tyler Dibling will be beating himself up. And once you start beating yourself up and you're not getting minutes on the pitch and you're going into training every day knowing you're probably not going to get any minutes in the next match, it smacks your confidence. So I think Tyler Dibling needs to, if it's the case what we've heard, I think he needs to come out of his shell. It's easy for me to say, don't let the price tag hinder him. You know, £42 million is a big price tag. He did get homesick at Chelsea. You know, they were the rumours. Now, if he was homesick at Chelsea, an hour and a half away from Southampton or whatever it is, there's a chance he could be struggling up here. That's just an opinion of mine. There's a chance he could be really struggling away from his family. You know, his family are living in Southampton. I don't think we'll see much of Tyler Dibling from now to the end of the season. I think he needs to... I'm saying this already, and we're only in November. I think come the end of the season, I think he needs to go away, spend some time with his family, come back in pre-season with the attitude that I'm going to make this starting 11 next season. I've got the price tag on my head. I'm not going to let it affect me. I want to be involved. I want to be part of a big football club like Everton. I want to show what I can actually do. And I think once you come in, and we'll see that in pre-season, I think we'll know by then how many pre-season games he's involved in and the performances that he's putting in, if it's going to work for him. Because at the minute, you were more sure about Tyler Dibling than me. And I'm going to sit here now, and I actually don't think Tyler Dibling was the number one right wing choice. I don't. I think we had a list of 3 or 4. We know some of the names. We've spoke about them on here. And I just think he was one of the last names on the list. And that's no dig at Tyler Dibling, that, by the way. That's not his fault. But I do think he just needs to get his head down, train hard, work hard. Because when you've got players coming on in your position, mate, who are not right wingers, then you're not doing something right. You need to be doing things right to make sure you're going to play in your position.
Yeah, I think if it is that he's homesick, for example, I just really hope that people at Everton are putting their arm around him rather than beating him up, because that surely would make it worse. So I really hope that people are putting their arm around him and supporting him, and helping him. You know, there'll be a lot of people in these comments that will go, "You're a professional footballer. You earn thousands of pounds a week."
It's no difference, mate. That's all that.
It doesn't. You're right.
He's a human being.
Exactly. And people forget that because their assets, you know, it sounds awful, but their assets have got a price tag on them. For me, if he needs a bit of time, give him the time. What difference does it make to us? At the end of the day, at this point, right, we've spent so much money on a player that it sounds awful, but Everton have to make it work. Otherwise, it's a like, it sounds awful, but it's a massive mistake of a signing, isn't it? Everton,
but you don't get your money back.
You won't get your money back, and to be honest, it's just a waste of another position. So for me, I really hope that the people in the ground, I hope Seamus, the captain, you know, Tarkowski, I hope David Moyes, I hope they're all just saying, take a bit of time. We're not going down. We're playing all right without you. Get your head in the game and come back. If you need to come back stronger, come back stronger. If you need a loan move in January, give him a loan move. Yeah. Let him sort of dictate the time it takes for him to get used to it, because at the minute it's not working. And that's not a dig at Tyler. It's more a dig at the club if we haven't put the things in place that he needs.
And before people drop in the comments saying we're writing Tyler Dibling off, we're not. I just think from what we're seeing or from what we're not seeing, something's not quite right. I think it's pretty obvious something's not right. So, you know, we're not writing him off. I just think he needs time.
Yeah, agreed.
One more, Merlin Rol.
Yeah, I'll let you lead with that because the dog's about to go ape.
Right, no, listen, I think when he's come on, I think we've seen there's a player in there. And I think we've seen there's a player in there who will acclimatise to the Premier League quite quickly. And David Moyes has been more vocal about his performances than he spoke about him more than he spoke about Tyler Dibling or Adamu. You know, I know we haven't seen that the two latter players there. David Moyes doesn't really talk about them two players, but he always, when he gets asked about the questions about Merlin Rol, or he'll bring it up, and he's quite positive of how he's settled in. And I think for the stature that Merlin Rol is, and we've spoke about how our midfield will probably look different in a couple of years' time, I think he's going to be a big part of that, because from what I've seen, I do think there's a player in there, and I think there's a Premier League player in there. So I'm going to give him a 6 as well, because we haven't seen much of him, but from what I have seen, I do think we can be excited about him.
Yeah, so I agree, and I think it's a player that I was very much on the fence about signing, if I'm being honest, because I don't feel like we've got a bad midfield in terms of numbers, in terms of even quality. I think we've got a decent midfield. So the signing of Merlin Rol, I didn't 100% get at the time. But what he does have is physicality. He adds height. He adds the ability to carry the ball, which I noticed in one of his games recently. He got the ball. It was the Spurs game, I think. And he got the ball and he carried it, and he did quite well. He was combative in that midfield. There's definitely a player. You're right. Yeah. There's definitely a player. And I think Moyes, ideally, the way I look at this Everton team, I think Moyes would prefer to set up in a 4-3-3, if I'm being honest. I think that's how he would prefer to set up. And I think he would have James Garner, Dewsbury-Hall, and Merlin Rol. That's the three that I think he'd have in that middle. You know, when the Idrissa Gana guys at the African Cup of Nations and whatever, they're the three that I think he'd have in midfield. I think you'd have Tim on the bench, and I think you'd rotate the four of them in those three positions, because Tim's done nothing wrong when he's played recently. So I'm not excluding Tim because he's poor or anything. I'm not, but that's the three that I'd expect him to want to play. He'd want a striker. You're scoring your goals consistently. I think James Garner has got a goal in him from central midfield. We can see he can get a shot off. We've seen Dewsbury-Hall's got a goal in him. I think Merlin Rol is probably less of the three in terms of goal scoring. And then obviously you've got Illiman and Joe on the right hand side. So for me, I think a 4-3-3 with proper attacking fullbacks, with the three midfielders being able to slot in. I think that's how Moyes would probably want to play. But as of right now, he just can't do it because Idrissa Gana guy, you can't really drop. Merlin Rol is still adapting to the Premier League. So for me, I give Merlin Rol, I'm going to say a 6 again, personally. But I'm probably being harsh on him because I probably could give him a 7. I've been impressed with him, and I think his mentality has been good as well.
I think the way you're talking there, it's a much changed midfield, what we've spoke about. Yes, it's personnel who we know, but it's a different formation. The only problem you've got is when Idrissa Gana guy goes to the African nations, so does Illiman and Dye as well. And I think David Moyes probably would have liked to have played that formation more. But with the centre forwards not scoring goals, I think he's been a bit hampered with that. So if we had a decent striker, and again, this is no indictment on, people know my thoughts on Beto, but I'll repeat what I've said in the last couple of videos. I think we've seen more of Barry in the last couple of games, but I still don't think he's going to be a prolific goal scorer. Yeah, so quick words on Charlie Alcaraz, who we re-signed.
I feel really sorry for Charlie Alcaraz personally because it seems to be like complete mixed opinion on social media about his performances, and I don't think Charlie Alcaraz has done much wrong. Now, there'll be people that disagree, and I think me and you might have slightly different opinions, which is always worth watching, but people probably shoot me down for this, but I'd probably give Charlie Alcaraz a 7. Because because every game I've seen him come off the bench, I think he's been tenacious. I think he's always tried to carry the ball forward. I think there was a game, I think it was the Tottenham game where Moyes had made the changes late, but we were a completely different team with him and Tim on the pitch. I think that was what we said. I think it was the Tottenham game. So for me, it might have been Sunderland actually, but for me, I think Charlie Alcaraz has been a touch unlucky that Dewsbury-Hall has done so well in potentially his position. Do you get what I mean? I
go 6, pushing a 7. I'm with you. I'm just one below you, but I think Charlie Alcaraz is better as a substitute player. Mate, I think we've seen more from Charlie Alcaraz coming off the bench. But we've seen Charlie Alcaraz play on the right wing, mate. We know Charlie Alcaraz can play through the middle. When Charlie started, I don't think we've seen as much of an impact from him as what we do when he comes off the bench. Now, whether that's trying to prove a point and then he gets to start next game and his level drops a bit, or is it because he's not playing in his preferred position when he starts a game? But I think when you look at it, 9 times out of 10, when he's come as a sub, he's gone into the position that he prefers to play. So I think that's why we've seen more of him. But again, I do think there's a player in there. I just think if he was starting games in the position that he likes to play more, then I'd give him a 7 because I think we would have seen more. The reason why it's a 6 is because he's only being used really as a substitute player. But I think when he's come on, I think his performances have been okay.
Yeah, I completely agree. The last one to mention, was we haven't actually spoke about him, is Tiago Barry.
There's not much to say, really, is there? Apart from, we've said on here the last couple of games, his work rate's gone up a level. He missed the chance against Sunderland, which he was playing well up until that. And then I think that had a bit of a confidence hit when he put that chance over the bar. Listen, I know, every Everton fan knows, and Tiago Barry will know, he should have scored that. He should have took that chance. I'll say it again. I think we've seen good performances, better performances against Sunderland and Fulham. I thought he was better. he needs to stop the sulking when he gets brought off. He needs to stop that, because I think the Sunderland one was worse. I think with the Fulham one, I think he enjoyed the adulation that he got from the Everton fans. So I don't think he felt as down getting substituted that game. And I think more so the Sunderland substitution, Michael, I think he went off looking really disappointed, possibly because he missed that chance, because he's probably thinking to himself, if I would have put that in, would I have been getting pulled off? So I think it was a mixture of emotions against Sunderland, but then he did come back after the game after that against Fulham. And I thought the Fulham performance of Tiago Barry was probably his best in an Everton shirt. But again, he needs that goal. And I will say it again, until he gets that goal, I'm unsure whether he's going to score enough goals. I don't think he'll ever be prolific. I don't think he'll ever be a Romelu Lukaku. But I prefer him to start than Beto. We've said it on here, Michael. I'd have no problem starting Tiago Barry for the next 4, 5, 6 games. Now, give him a run of games. We've started him 2 games on the run now, and we've seen what he's capable of. Better performances, holding the ball up, bringing the midfield runners into play more than what Beto does. So, again, I think he needs a run of games, get that first goal, and see where we go from there with him.
Yeah, I think the thing for me, so I completely agree. And the thing for me is, especially with the Fulham one, I don't think he was expecting the reception he got. So, and he come out and said that in an interview he's done with Paddy Boyland. He basically said he wasn't, he didn't expect it because he didn't feel like he'd earned that sort of reception. And what I hope that's demonstrated to him is that you don't have to sulk. You don't have to lose your head. He's got a YouTube channel. You can literally go and watch his YouTube channel. It's literally, it's there. It gives you a real insight into his life. But for me, it's a young lad that, again, I think needs a bit of nurturing, needs a bit of support. I put him similarly into the Tyler Dibling bracket. It's just, I think there's less players that can play in that position. Literally, we just have better, and no disrespect to Beto, but we all know how that would end. So he's had to try and put some pressure on Beto, and Barry probably now has demonstrated he's the better footballer out the two. Whether he's a better finisher, I'm actually still on my undecided, because Beto isn't a bad finisher when he's actually in that position. The problem with Beto is getting him in that position. But if you're asking Beto to slot home from 4 yards, well, we see that he doesn't miss lots of them. And running onto balls and those one-on-one opportunities. Beto's not bad at one-on-ones. He's not, but he doesn't have the hold up the ball, play your players in, control. So that's where Barry's better for me. So, and the other thing I'd say on Barry is he's literally played in 5 countries in the last 5 seasons. He's played in France, I think it's Germany, Switzerland, Spain, and now England. Now, he's done 1 season in each league, and it has clearly been a progressionally step up. I'm not holding it against him, if you get what I mean. Like, I want him to do well. I think it's a fair assessment that he's probably not going to be prolific, but I certainly think he's going to be a decent Premier League striker in terms of his play. Whether he scores enough is the question, and that's the problem with the striker. You're paid to score goals. So for me, look, I give him a 6 because I give Tyler a 5, and I've saw less of Tyler. I give him a 6 because I hadn't seen enough, and now I'm starting to be happy with what I'm seeing. I wrote him off 4 weeks ago. We both did. We both sat here and went, poor signing. I think it's not a bad signing. I just think he needs to go and demonstrate a bit more now. And you're right, he needs that goal. He needs that goal. And what better place to get it on a watch along with me and you against Manchester United? I mean, what confidence would that do when he goes on YouTube and sees Blue Boys Network and me and you with our tops off swirling around as we've won 1-0 because Tiago Barry scored the winner? So
yeah, that'll do his confidence the world of good. One more question before we wrap up. overall, not just the signings that we've brought in the summer, but overall, up to now, who's been your player of the season?
Well, I named the two at the start of the video.
You did, but you've got to pick one.
I'll go Michael Keane. I'll go Michael Keane because I probably wrote him off more than I'd wrote James Garner off, and yet he's chipped in. Is it 2 goals he scored? Is it 1 goal he scored? He's chipped in. He's not put a foot wrong. I'm trying to think of a game where he's put a foot wrong, and I just don't think he has. But honestly, John, you're asking me to pick between 2 kids here. I just couldn't do it. Like, I'm so happy for both of them. But I probably just shade it with Michael Keane. But honestly, James Garner's been a revelation, mate, and he's been linked with all sorts of moves. Linked today to West Ham, waste of time, mate. I mean, why would anyone drop down a level of quality, of standard, and that you have to sit in a stadium with binoculars because you can't see the players on the pitch because they're ants twiddling around like Sabutio? You just wouldn't do it. So for me, it's Michael Keane, very quickly, nicely followed by James Garner.
Well, I go with James Garner, and listen, not because you've gone with Michael Keane, because it could have been Michael Keane, because I think we all know Michael Keane in the past when he's, when he's been at the club. I know he did leave and then we re-signed him, but he did suffer with mental, problems. He was down in the dumps. It was affecting his football. I think the football was affecting how he felt as well. Poor performances, the crowd getting on his back. But he's been a revelation this season, in my opinion, Michael Keane. We've looked more solid the way he's been playing. He's chipped in with the goal, as you say. But I'll go with James Garner, and the only reason for that is because I completely wrote him off. I was bloated and full now because of the humble pie that I've eaten over James Garner. I mean, I'm stuffed. I'm still stuffed from it because I think since David Moyes come in, James Garner's been fantastic. In the midfield, at right back, I think he's played a full back the odd game. The reason why I pick him is because he's very versatile. I mean, we've screamed Michael Keane up front, put Michael Keane up front. It'd be interesting to see what he'd done if he started as a centre forward. But I just think, I look at James Garner, and when he was at right back when we played Leeds, we missed him in the centre. And then when he went back into the centre, we missed him at full back. So James Garner gives us all every game, wherever he's asked to play. And the reason why I've picked him over Michael Keane is because I'd wrote him off. And for a long, long time, I don't think a player has changed my opinion as much as what James Garner has. He's solid at right back. He looked okay at left back. He doesn't go missing. He doesn't go hiding in the midfield. He always wants the ball. You look at last season when Beto had the purple patch, some of the balls he was putting through for Beto to run onto. So he's got that in his locker. So for me, James Garner is my player of the season up to now and would be the first name on the team sheet every week. And I will give him an 8.
I'll give him a 9, just to be. Yeah, right. What would you give us?
Oh, us? 11 out of 10.
What would you give the atmosphere at the Hill Dickinson?
Fulham was okay,
Yeah.
so I'll give it a 5. If the Fulham atmosphere wasn't there, mate, and it was like the rest of the games, be a 4.
Yeah,
But listen, it works hand in hand. We've said this on here. If the team's performing on the pitch and we're seeing performances, it gets the crowd around you. It gets the crowds up for it. But the crowds have also got to be up for the Fulham, for that game as well. And I do think the next home game we've got at the Hill Dickinson against Newcastle, I think that atmosphere is going to be electric. We've got Claire Bolton coming back. We've got a Newcastle team who I don't think they play very well away from home. And I think Everton fans, mate, are going to be well up for that. I think that game, the Newcastle game, is going to be the best atmosphere we've witnessed up to now this season there.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle behind us in points, goal difference. They're not having a good season at all. So, yeah, I think you're right, John. I think it will probably be the most, certainly the most aggressive atmosphere.
And it's a 5:30 kickoff as well.
It's a 5:30 kickoff as well, yeah. Tasty. Plenty of donuts will get sunk. Right, well, look, we will be doing a watch along for the Manchester United game on Monday. I've got all the graphics to create. As you know, I do a lovely 5-minute intro before we finish the video. This has been a long one, so just 2 minutes on this, John, of your time. Mctominay.
Yeah.
Now, Tottenham fans, some of their podcasts are saying Everton are very keen on signing Mctominay. Now, for me, I wanted to sign him before we went to Napoli because I saw a player that I just don't think Manchester United fans saw. I think loads of football fans saw the player that Manchester United fans didn't see, because I've always rated him. I've never thought he was a bang average footballer. I've always rated him, and it hasn't surprised me that he's been absolutely outstanding for Napoli. But can Everton sign Scott McTominay right now?
Well, the rumours going around, it's £70 million. Now, I think he probably costs more than that. I'm going to be honest with you. He's pulled up every tree that he can in Italy. Man United fans must be kicking themselves, because I'm not being funny, mate. I'd say Scott McTominay has outperformed any Man United midfielder this season. He would fit right into Everton. He would fit right into Everton Football Club. The way he plays, he's got an eye for goal. We've seen that midweek. He's tenacious. He'll put a tackle in. He'll carry the ball forward. Scott McTominay is very, very close for me as an all-round midfielder. And you don't get many of them anymore. And I just think I don't think Everton gets Scott McTominay. I think if he does want to come back to the Premier League, or he does want to leave Italy, there's going to be some clubs after him, mate, who probably can offer him Champions League football. The only way Everton get him, if we are after him, is by offering them stupid wages. And, mate, when you look at... what Everton need to start doing, mate, we need to start bringing players in now to keep Ilman and die. And this is the thing. And Scott McTominay will go a long way to that. Scott McTominay, for me, would be a statement signing by Everton Football Club. We've had one with Jack. I wouldn't pay £50 million for Jack Grealish. If we can get him for 30 on reduced wages, fair enough. But I think Scott McTominay, mate, would make Everton sit up. And people sit up and realise Everton are, bringing big name players in. They're talking about Ilman and Dye could have been one of the best players in the Premier League this season. He's probably, in my opinion, scored the best goal in the Premier League up to now this season. We got Jack Grealish over the line. We've got Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall come in. So Everton are attracting big names. Yes, we're paying big wages to the likes of Jack and probably Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. We need to do the same for Ilman and Dye to keep him. But I think players and clubs and other fans of other clubs are noticing now that Everton are trying to do things. And if Everton can get someone of the ilk, like Scott McTominay, even if it's not in January, if it's next summer, the summer transfer window, then I firmly believe players like him and Ndiaye and Kieran Dewsbury-Hall take Everton to another level, the next level up.
I completely agree. And if McTominay can bring his striking partner, Romelu Lukaku, with him on loan, then I think, to be fair, I think Lukaku is out until March. So, I mean, that won't happen. But, I mean, if that could happen, I'd be, yeah, boy. Right, look, we'll leave it there. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. As we said at the start of the video, make sure you go and support our sponsors, AV8, OK Jersey, BBN for 8% discount. And, of course, Flyers, where we will be there for the next home game, Everton against Newcastle, 5:30 kickoff. Get yourself booked on. Get yourself a cheeky game of golf before the football. Have a Saturday out. Have a Saturday with the boys, the girls, do whatever. Come and show your face. There is also Blue Boys Network t-shirts in store, and of course there will be now. I think there will be QR code and posters in there, so you can go and buy a ticket for the event with Neville Southall on the 6th of February. We also have a singer, and we're also going to be doing, some other little things in there. Might involve a quiz, might be a cheeky little karaoke. We'll see. We'll do something, but ultimately, we're looking forward to seeing you there. Make sure you get a ticket ASAP, and there will be a little voucher code for Black Friday and Christmas as well. So, up the topies. Right. See you soon, guys. We'll see you for the match preview on Friday if nothing blockbuster comes out tomorrow.
Cool. See you soon, folks.